My mother suffers a fracture back. How does she fracture her back at 23? Now, I will try to get through this without breaking down.
Okay.
23 years old, my mother comes from one of the most affluent families in India. Her father was India renowned doctor, but he was also taken to the Royal College of Physicians in the UK, where he was, he focused on internal medicine, but a specialty in tuberculosis. Uganda has tuberculosis. Yeah. It was rampant in India back then. So the British take him back and they train him and they try to keep him. So 23 years old, she gets married to a man that comes from another affluent family, arranged marriage. He takes her to the US and she goes to Chicago. The first thing this gentleman does is strips her of all her gold and jewelry, and she had a lot of it. So what does my mother do? She's on the 4th story. She goes out, she doesn't want to bring shame to her family, so she jumps. This is how I find out, and the wilder part is how I found this out. She jumps, but how did she survive? She fell so perfectly that the only thing that happened was she fractured her back. Now, people saw those films. No one wanted to touch her, but I devoted myself to this industry without me even knowing it because of my mother, and God made it that way. She survived. Dude, okay, so Shad, when I first met him, right? I mean, he's going in depth, but he gave me the cliff notes of the whole thing, and my major takeaways and why this guy fell in love with him, and I knew it was my duty not to just help you, because you are helping me. Yes. Whether you like it or not, you are attached to me. You are a protector. I need it more so than ever. So, you have a background in mental health. We haven't even talked about that. People are thinking I'm crazy now. Am I so clear in my head that I see an individual like this and I go, I need this gentleman, So call me crazy, but I need this gentleman. What do you think?
Here's the universe providing.
Here's the universe providing. Simply put, well put, it's the universe providing, and we could, it's not take, it's reciprocate. Like in our industry has been, take, and they constantly take from me. And I ask for reciprocation in the sense of paying it forward. Be a good person. Do more good than harm. So I'm going to do more good, even though my messaging looks harsh. Why is it so harsh? Because I'm saying I can only make room for the good. So all the bad stay away. I'm telling you guys, I'm yelling at you. People are saying, Showman, you're yelling at everyone. Yes. Because people get scared when you yell. Trust me. My dad yelled at me constantly. He had a way of yelling. You look at that nice man, the silver fox, but he had, these teeth that were yellow, and he would do this maneuver, and I would know this guy means business. And he put me in his place. And so when Kenneth, I'm in his car. Thank you, Chase. He picks me up, and he's essentially my driver for that whole trip. And I was going through so many emotions of greatness, right? I come here, Chase and I do our podcast together. We reminisce about our similarities, and it was really good. And then I get to see one of my best friends, Maziar Kalani, and, he talks about certain things that we've been working on since day one when he was a third-year resident in Stanford, and what he's accomplishing now and where we're going. And I say we, right? Groomsmen my wedding, Maz. Yep. There's no one better on this planet.
Go ahead. I was just going to say the joy that I saw in your eyes and also in Mozzie's eyes when you had that dance with your mom was moving.
Yeah.
I picked up my phone, I texted him, and I said, you made this happen.
Yeah.
I know there was a joint team, yourself, Mozzie deliberated over this for hours and hours, days and weeks about the care for your mom. To see her stand up and the pride and joy that she had that whole day, and she didn't have to say a word. The story was in her eyes. The story was in your eyes, the way you guys were looking at each other. And to see Mozzie's work make that happen was a touching moment. Mm-hmm. And I think that, once again, that's a tribute to the time and effort you've put into this industry, the time and effort you've put into building these great relationships with these amazing people, not knowing that this was going to come down and change and be needed for your own mom. But here you are. Mm.
No, I'm glad you got that. But what if I told you that's not correct?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look, yeah, that's not correct. There's a lot of truth to what you said, but let me give you the real story. My mother suffers a fracture back. How does she fracture her back at 23? Now, I will try to get through this without breaking down.
Okay.
I will. And maybe people can see that there's a lot of emotion in me, and I'm not a bad man. So what propels me and what's my why? 23 years old, my mother comes from one of the most affluent families in India. Her father was a India renowned doctor, but he was also taken to the Royal College of Physicians in the UK, where he was, he focused on internal medicine, but a specialty in tuberculosis. Uganda has tuberculosis. Yeah. It was rampant in India back then. So the British take him back and they train him and they try to keep him. And my grandfather that I never met says, I studied a poor man's disease. I'm going back to India. And he goes back to India and, my mom is born, she had 2 older sisters that passed. She has a brother that's still living in India, Dr. Satish Ugrunker. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He does spine and orthopedics. So he and I were consulting on my mom, but going back to when she's 23. 23 years old, she gets into an arranged marriage with a man. And I don't know if my mom's ready to tell it because it's her story, but I'm waiting for her to do it and we'll get her on. But since we are going this way, we're going to go this way. I was not preparing for this, but now we are here. So 23 years old, she gets married to a man that comes from another affluent family. Arranged marriage. You guys have that in Uganda?
Yes.
Arranged marriage, right? So she then marries this guy, and this guy takes her to the U.S., and she goes to Chicago. The first thing this gentleman does is strips her of all her gold and jewelry, and she had a lot of it. And this is the time you can't pick up a phone. Mm. She suffered atrocities by this man. So much so that she couldn't bring shame to her family. So what does my mother do? She's on the 4th story. She goes out. She doesn't want to bring shame to her family, so she jumps. Mm. This is how I find out, and the wilder part is how I found this out. She jumps, but how did she survive? She fell so perfectly that the only thing that happened was she fractured her back. Now, people saw those films. No one wanted to touch her. No one wanted to touch her. Now, I find this out, this whole story at 22 years old. I just graduated college. I thought my mom slipped in the shower. Mind you, she's only taken ibuprofen. And not even, she got 800 milligrams, but she would eat a little chunk of it. So she has lived with so much pain. If you saw her coronal off balance, like you would know that that's significant. What about the fact that axial load on L2 shattered and put her in a kyphotic state? So, I mean, look at her films, dude. It's crazy, right? So spine had to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be a doctor, dude. I'm too crazy. But I devoted myself to this industry without me even knowing it because of my mother. And God made it that way. She survived that fall. And then luckily, she's able to go into a hospital in a back brace, and the police came and she was able to flee that man. Now, again, I find this out at 22 years old. How do I find out? It's God. Because at that moment, we were going for a passport, my mother and I. And we're in the San Jose passport office, and we are renewing it. We're going to India. And the passport lady, God bless her, she was an angel. She's asking the questions to my mother. Have you been married before? And my mother goes, yes. And I go, what the F? And I'm freaking out, and I can see my mom go red and start to kind of panic a little bit, because now her boy at 22 years old is going to find out the truth, that she was lying the whole time, that it wasn't a fall in the shower. She hid this from me because she knew my brother and I would be on a plane because the guy's still alive, and we would do what we do because we're Jameses and we're big freaking Indians and we are hotheads. I get it. But we take care of our family. So that passport lady grabs my mother's hand and says, it's okay, honey. It's okay. And so as we get through that, we go into her car, and I'm freaking out because what do I ask? Is dad my dad? That's where I went with that. I don't understand what that had to do with it, and the story of her wanting to commit suicide. So it's heavy. Now we go to Mozzie and why this spine game is very important. It might be my last, right? We had a post that went out yesterday. It's coming hot off that. And I'm not going to go into that, but maybe we go into it because we can just segue into it, right? Because this will give people a better understanding of who we are at this table so no one F's with us. Try it, dog. Try it.
Go with Mozzie. Let's see. Let's hear the Mozzie.
Let's go to Mozzie. So third-year resident, this hot shot comes in. You know his flavor. You know his swag. You haven't met him yet, Kenneth. Just wait. Instantaneously fall in love with the man. I instantaneously fell in love with the man in a man crush kind of way. In a hetero way of going, I need this guy in my life for the rest of my life. I will follow him anywhere. Anywhere. So I did. Third year, Stanford. His brother Yash is a endovascular guy that went to Barrows, another neurosurgeon, right? And their story is unique. I will get him on here. You better believe I will. And their immigrant story is wild, right? But two brothers that become neurosurgeons, underachievers. Under freaking achievers. And so Mozzie wanted to be a cranial guy. And I'm biased. I'm working for Globus at the time, and he's cycling through the valley, cycling through the VA. I didn't work at the big house Stanford, but I got the residents on their third year. And I'm in this guy's ear. I was like, spine pays the bills. Spine pays the bills. He was doing surgery. Obviously the tending would come in, but they just let him do it. Under their supervision, he was so darn good doing complex spine. I'm like, bro, you are going to be a spine surgeon. So what did Shomit do? I invited him to every single course. He's a fellow. We only could do fellows in attendings and all that. That was their rules. They didn't see that if you take a resident that wants to get interested in spine, that they have a customer for life. I did that. Not any big med tech, spine tech. You guys suck. That is just human connection, is it not, Chad?
100%. So my question is, there's always one in my life so far in my young 20 years here. There was one person that changed my life. Without him, there's no me.
You got to talk to me.
Without Jim Laudengard, there is no me in spine.
This is actually a new name. I've never heard this name before.
So Dr. Laudengard, orthopedic guy out in Torrance, saw me grind, chase after him. Every time I was working with another great surgeon out there, Tiffany Rogers, I had a lot of great support, right? We all have amazing people in our lives that we may not know it at that time. Like, we're just putting our head down and working, right? So I do my 3 years with Nuvasive, and I come back from my honeymoon, find out that Dr. Rogers is going to a new company. She wants me to come with her. So it's that moment, right? You're like, I've made an impact with one person. This person is taking me with her. I've been doing something good. I've been noticed, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I come from this big company that I'm getting passed up for opportunity to now I'm having a surgeon ask me to come be her rep because I'm being impactful with her. I worked with her for a couple years. Have another great mentor in the game there named Dale Liebert, Bo Shreve, and just have a great group of teams and people around me that want to see me. I walk into that hospital at Little Company Mary in Torrance, and it's not friends, it's family. Yeah. Everyone there is, and I'm walking in there whether I'm on crutches because I broke my foot 6 weeks before my wedding, and I'm lugging a 30-pound Pelican case, and I'm doing it with crutches, and everything is, let me help you. And I got this. No, let me help you. It's like, all right. So I have this team around me. I'm working with Tiffany. I'm seeing this guy, and he's doing these MIST lifts. I'm working with Askilap, and we have the sweetest MIST lift retractor to show him. And every second he's at the scrub sink, I'm showing him something. Every minute I can get in front of him, I'm talking to him. And one day, he goes, well, if you're going to bring your retractor in, why don't you bring your screws in?
There you go. There you go.
And
there you go. It's called earning it. It's not easy.
And that man worked with me every single day from that point on till when he retired from surgery at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. That man changed my life. Without him,
that's great.
There's no me.
Wow. I mean, look, and for all these people coming into this business, right? I'm hot off scolding a lot of people. I said, some stuff to Jay that, he's losing sight of what's going on in this industry. And that story right there, Shad, is what people need to hear. They want instant gratification. It's the marshmallow study from Stanford. Grab the one marshmallow right away. Don't wait for two. You waited for two. And that's why you're a winner.
Great game to play with your kids, by the way, too.
Oh, my gosh.
To learn a little. I learned that. When you introduced that study to me, I immediately went home with that with my kids. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know who introduced that to me, but it's real, right? It's real. Like, that is delayed gratification is real. And this business is what it is. Now, what do you have to say for these guys? There's a guy here in Scottsdale, Jacob McLaughlin, right? I'm going to come after him again. New to medical sales. If you look at his social, he's talking about what you can make in medical device sales. You as a true professional, not only as a spine rep, but as a businessman, but more importantly, a father, and more importantly, a human, a good human. What do you say to someone that's throwing messaging out to young kids and saying, all we do is we're after the money? For a guy who's spent 4 years in the business.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I think it's human nature to want to take care of your tribe and take care of your family. I think we all get into our lives because of that need and that desire to want to do better for our families on a daily basis.
100%.
So, yeah, is it true that we chase that opportunity just like everyone else on the planet? Yes, we chase opportunity to make our lives better. I think the depth and the relationship and the character and the wisdom comes in to your life is when you realize there is a bigger purpose than just the money. When there is someone's mom or dad on that table and it's not just a paycheck, it's just not a dollar you're getting. You're gaining trust, you're getting full service, you're getting consistency, and you're the one that has to deliver. You're the one that has to be there to make sure that everyone can do their job. You're part of that team. As much as they don't want you to be part of that team, they want to isolate you and tell you, you have to go change here, you have to wear this there, you have to go check in over there. You have to jump through all the hoops
Tons of hoops.
to be part of that team. But the only person they call when something goes good or bad is you.
Yeah.
I need you to get me this there. Great. That's what we work for. There is no 9 to 5. There is no hours. There's no on or off. There is, I do what I do because of A, I love the people that I work with. And B, I want to be the guy that has to answer the questions. I want to be the guy that has to be responsible for getting things done. I want to be that guy that can say, I did a good job today.
You know, and look, you just talked about an experience, and all your surgeon said was bring in your screws.
Yeah.
And Kenneth, you're gonna understand all of this, bud. And I know it's going like we're going warp speed on it, but you have all the time in the world, man. You're gonna have family taking such good care of you to understand this industry. But I also want to warn you, it is something else, right, Chad?
So,
what would you give advice to Kenneth as he's stepping into this?
one, be patient. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself the opportunity to learn and be mentored and just take it step by step. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't think that you have to know everything day one. Be patient. Build a team. Get to know the people that you're working with, whether they're other reps, whether they're nurses, whether they're techs, whether they're your surgeons, whether it's your surgeon's office. Get to know them because those are the people that will help you.
And they want to help you.
Yeah.
Because he's such a wonderful human. Not everyone is evil, right? We talk about the gatekeepers and like some of them are in bad, they're in bad moods or they're just like hate us. But how can they be mean to a smile like that?
Bring that energy every day.
Bring that energy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, that's
Thank you,
good.
guys.
And, I love recording it. And I remember when I dropped that on you at the Mayo, and I was like, bro, you're good, dude. And you reversed it on me. I was like, we're doing a hell of more of these, right?
I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, and I listened to that one because you have so many pearls and you have so much wisdom, and like you bring that to your life, and you're a wonderful father. And I finally got to meet your beautiful wife. I like Monique better. I just got to.
You're not the only one.
I know you're telling me that. I just have to be real. But no, Kenneth, I mean, you have a lot of people that have taken some blows in this industry. And we have created a pathway for people like you who, when they didn't even ask for it, he didn't see a Instagram post that said, you can make this money.
I saw it. No, I saw some post on LinkedIn about what you just talked about and what he complimented about. The guy putting money before. And,
That's great.
And I have a story about my grandfather.
Yeah.
He was a general doctor.
Okay.
The whole village, he was the only person who was a general doctor. And whenever you say, like, you're coming from the airport, you're going to Scottsdale. But those days, there's no phones. And the only place they would tell you to go to is his place. Because he knew he was treating the whole village.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care about money, but he cared about the wellness of the village. That's how he got known. So people miles and miles away will tell you, go to his place. That's why
Doctors should listen to that.
The taxis would stop.
That's a good tidbit for doctors.
The taxi in Uganda carries 14 people. It stops there. So people who don't know where they're going would go to his clinic and ask, I am going to so-and-so's home, and he's the one to take you there. So he cared about his people so much, and he died 2 years ago, and I gave him a very good rest because they called me and your father is doing bad, your grandfather is doing bad, and all of a sudden he died, old age, and I think he used to ride a bike. That's how he was taking people around, and the exhaust pipe burnt him, so he developed cancer.
The what?
The exhaust pipe. The exhaust
For
pipe
the
for the motorbike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
it
wow.
burnt him.
Constantly, or is that just happened one time.
I think it's hard because they are.
Because he was on it so long, taking care of the people, or
No. He was, I think, I don't know how it burnt him. I don't know. But
he developed cancer.
So I used to go see him and he injects himself. And I was scared, finding somebody injecting.
That's a true freaking.
Yeah, because he was a doctor.
That's
So
a
he
true
would treat
doctor.
himself,
So spiritual question here.
Yeah.
Your grandfather treated his community.
Yes.
You come here, and now your community is taking care of you and taking you to their community, which is yours. Do you think that's your grandfather reaching out? My mom has ways because I never got to meet my real grandfather.
So this is where I get goosebumps. Now, my young brother is so famous because when he was young, he met the Pope. The Pope came to Uganda in 1993. Amongst the thousands of people that went to see the Pope called him alone. He's on the internet, if you Google his name. So I think it is somehow in the clan that all of us have to take this path in the medical field. Though, however much you run away from it, because even he met somebody that mentored him into dental health. As I speak now, he owns a dental clinic in Uganda. It's called Prime Dental. If you go on Instagram,
we're gonna do some stuff there.
So your brother meets the Pope out of all these thousands of people. You get a visa out of all these hundreds of people.
Yes.
Tell me there's not faith in that. Tell me there's not a higher power or God in there.
He tried to get a visa.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying, dude?
So he also tried to get a visa, but he was denied. All my family tried. They were denied, apart from me. But I think his calling was to help people in Uganda. As I speak now, he has a dental clinic. He opened it, I think, last year. But he was working under a dental clinic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then one of his friends who's a doctor, a dental doctor, told him, Jonathan, I think it's high time we started our own clinic.
Let's go. Entrepreneurial, too.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a great combo.
I sent him your video with Chase, and I told him about you. He was like, he knows even much more than me. And this morning, as I speak, I told him I have a podcast with you, and he was telling me, talk about
his story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. It's a great story. I mean, it's a part of who you are, the blood. You guys have the same blood.
Yes.
And you have the same blood as your grandfather. And you, I do believe that, right? I come from a line of a lot of doctors, and like I wound up in healthcare. And so even though we're kind of these guys on outside the sterile field, and you'll know exactly what we are, but we are part of the system, and we are good. We do more good than harm, right? I mean, we're welcomed in the team. They make it harder and harder. They put red caps on us. They put us in paper scrubs. We have credentialing systems that are just craziness, and it's a money grab. Then you have bad people at the top, at the leadership. It's all meant for us to fail and lose our minds. Why do we keep on doing it?
Because if you love what you do,
you
wake up with the thought that it's not work.
It's not work.
It's not work.
It's not work.
If you're a people person, you can go do whatever you want in this life. If you find a way to share energy and understand energy, you're gonna gravitate to the hardest things in the world, right?
Yeah.
We're lucky to be in these situations. Granted, whatever happens, but we're lucky to have these little gifts, these little pearls. 2 people out of couple hundred. Your brother meets the Pope. Yes. I want you to share for a second. I'm going to ask you how you. I think this is awesome too.
Watch how he turns it.
This is you. So you go from a family, right? You come from a medical side. How did you get into mental health? Tell the world about your background in mental health, because I think that's something I strive for now. Just trying to learn about my kids as they get older and ways that I can keep them motivated, keep them seeing positives, keep them challenging themselves at all times, and also not being scared to ask questions that are difficult to us at times too, right? But we have so many distractions with people, and now you're working on this mental health thing. What do you see with your influence and ways that you want to communicate with people and utilize your skills to do that, be part of that?
So coming from Uganda, we have a lot of people who are mentally disturbed. And because a lot of people didn't go to school, they call it witchcraft.
Mm.
Yeah, if you run crazy out of, say, using drugs, people say they call juju. They have done juju on you.
Okay.
Yeah, so the only solution they will tell you to is go for a traditional healer.
Western medicine, like our medicine?
No, that's a traditional healer is and witchcraft.
Like a
Witchcraft.
Yeah.
So these are believed to heal using witchcraft. That's the mentality. So I have my dad's young brother who died in 2018 during COVID. No, COVID was 2020. Around 2020.
I remember.
Yeah, 2020.
Went right to my brain. I have COVID fog. COVID brain.
Yes.
I want to forget all of that.
So he was the only. He was mentally sick, and they said his wife at that time had done witchcraft on him, which I don't think so. If you learn how mental illness starts and how it transitions in somebody, you can never think of like that. But these are people who have not gone to school enough, and they'll think like that.
Sure. I mean, I think
that is an inspiration for me to go into mental health, to learn how to help people like that.